All right, thanks for staying with us. Go into the voting session.
Okay.
Start with item 18.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see. Authorizing the City of Lincoln's application to the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission for financial assistance from the Rec Trails Program for renovating the Murdoch Trail from Tuesland to North 70th Street, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
All discussion.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Contract with Transport Plus for ADA eligible transportation services, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion? Call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb? Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 20 is amendment number 1 to the contract with Bridge for $200,000 in assistance to support the ongoing remodeling project, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion? I think this is a really great project, and I appreciate being able to vote for it. Call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb? Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 21 is the City Performance Audit Committee request to conduct a department audit of Public Works and Engineering Services, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion? John?
I'd just like to say, I hope there's some consideration on design approaches that we take by the city, because I've had people throw up ideas about painting medians instead of reflectors and curves and some other things. But anyway.
Any other discussion? All right, call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold? Motion carried, 7-0. Item 22, Comp Plan Amendment 15002, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion? Call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge? Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Abstain.
Motion carried, 6-0. Item 23 is Special Permit 15041, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion? All right, call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 24, amending the 2014-16 biennial operating budget for the 2015-16 fiscal year, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
To Roy for a
I
motion.
move that we delay a vote with public hearing till next week to give people the opportunity for transparency, for the public to see what's going on here with the amendments that are being proposed, and to just allow everybody to be able to dig deeper into both of these proposals.
Can you discuss,
Second.
can you discuss your motion a little bit?
Yes, my motion is to reduce expenditures here by about $1.8 to $2 million, and then follow that up at a later date with a levy reduction of 1 cent.
Okay, seconded by Cindy on the motion, and I'll go to Lyrian for discussion.
Thank you. My motion to amend is intended to make some relatively small fund transfers, looking at one-time expenses in the 14-15 budget and use them for one-time expenses in the 15-16 budget, specifically addressing real needs in our community, needs and obligations that the city has with regard to our pension commitments, to fixing our streets and addressing potholes on neighborhood streets, and then also to maintaining our parks infrastructure that, you know, a generation before us put in place. And regardless of whether or not how you feel about our park system, it's there and it's our obligation to maintain it. My motion would also return some Keno funds to their intended use for parks maintenance from a couple of projects being proposed by the mayor and backfill those projects with other sources of funding.
Great. Any other discussion on the motion to delay for 1 week? Carl?
Delay with hearing.
with hearing,
public
yes.
hearing.
That was the
yes.
motion, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Great. All right, call the roll on the motion.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Raybold.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 25, special permit 15030, introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion. Carl.
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment that we delay this also with continued public hearing for next week. There just seem to be some unanswered questions as to, this is a sensitive location in a neighborhood and in an area that there just seems to me should be other options, indicated that it wasn't the case. As a pastor, I know I've been involved in congregations that have had property taxed for commercial uses, and I'm just wondering why that wouldn't be the case here. Nobody was here from the church tonight. Just seems to me that we would benefit by having a 1-week delay.
Second your motion.
Seconded by Roy. John?
I guess along with that, I'd like to see a little bit more discussion among people and have someone from the church here next week.
Yeah, I think that's why we're doing that. Jane?
And I guess the question's for Carl. You would like them to have more input on a design that would be more acceptable to the neighborhood, or you want more input just from the church?
Input from the church, yeah, they just weren't here, didn't hear from them at all about
Okay.
their position. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All right, call the roll on the motion to delay for 1 week.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Raybold.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Public hearing ordinances second reading are items 26 and 27. Ordinances third reading, amending section 944090 of the Lincoln Municipal Code relating to fireworks to provide that any public fireworks exhibition shall cease by 11:59 p.m., introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Jane. Discussion. All right, call the roll.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Raybold.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 29, approving the closeout of completed construction projects and transfer of unspent appropriations and cash, if any, from various projects to projects where additional funding is needed within Public Works and Parks and Rec, introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Seconded by Carl. Discussion.
I think we need to move to delay this item as well because it has linkages to the budget resolution. That way we can make sure that we are making consistent changes to both items, that they work together as a package with no complicating factors. So we'll move that without public hearing because it's already had one, but delay that for 1 week as well.
Second.
Seconded by Roy. Discussion. John?
If there's some impact on one of the amendments proposed, would it be good to have public hearing, or would that just be more under the guise of the overall budget?
I think it would be on the overall guise of the budget, but
I mean, Jeff, if is there a way to, if we link them as associated items for next week, can we do that and therefore have the public hearing cover both of them?
You can show that on the agenda if you're here to cover both of them instead.
Okay, so Teresa, could you make them associated? Yeah, yeah. We probably should have done that in the first place.
I'll
That'd be great.
modify the motion to delay action with continued public hearing.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, call the roll on the motion to
Excuse
delay.
me, Teresa, that should just be with public hearing, because we're not
Or
continuing.
with public hearing, thank you, yes. Okay.
Roll on
Camp,
the motion.
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Fellers.
Yes.
Gaylor Baird.
Yes.
Lamb. Raybold.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Next is item 30. Approving the West Haymarket TDP Phase 3 redevelopment agreement, introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by everybody. Discussion.
I think that says it well. I think we all support this project wholeheartedly. This is a game-changing project for the city. We don't get a headquarters project like this come across our desk very often. It brings 21st century jobs at competitive salaries that can not only retain our best and brightest here in Lincoln, but attract the best and brightest talent from across the country. We're lucky to have a project like this. I think it not only shows an investment in Lincoln by a homegrown company, but it has the ability to potentially signal to other companies that are thinking about coming to Lincoln that we are a world-class city worthy of this kind of investment and location. So I wholeheartedly support this project.
Jane?
I just want to ditto Lyrian's comments, but also to add that in the process of job creation, it is what we consider, the elite side, that there are jobs that really take advantage of the amazing young people that graduate from UNL, and that we want to keep them here. So I support it, too.
Other discussion?
And Wesleyan and Doane and all of the universities in our
Can't
community.
Can't forget those guys. All right, call the roll, Teresa.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb? Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 31 is amending the fiscal year 2014-15 CIP to authorize and appropriate $6 million in TIF funds for this project, introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by Jane. Discussion.
We do have a motion to amend number 1.
Somebody would like to move the motion?
Move motion to amend number 1.
All right, you give a
Seconds?
brief description of what this is.
And this is to include an additional appropriation of $441,140 to cover the remaining amount of the purchase price being acquired, of the property being acquired by TDP Phase 3 for the Huddle project.
We got a second for that one? Okay, great. All right. All right, any further discussion? Call the roll on the amendment?
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Main motion?
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Next is item 32, authorizing the issuance of tax allocation bonds with a total not to exceed the amount of $6 million for the City of Lincoln West Haymarket TDP Phase 3 redevelopment project, introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by Jane. Discussion.
We have a motion to amend number 1 on this one as well.
All right, would somebody like to move that one?
I move a motion to amend number 1, and it is, the 2 changes are necessary to make the definition of project and the use of TIF in the bond ordinance consistent with the definition of project and use of TIF in the redevelopment agreement.
All right. Discussion on the amendment. All right, call the roll.
Could we have a second?
Oh, yeah.
Second.
Second by
Roy.
Roy.
All right, Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb? Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All right, on the main motion?
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. And finally, item 33, approving fast-forward funds for the construction of a skywalk bridge connecting the TDP Phase 3 office building, Huddle headquarters, to the JPA Green 2 parking garage, introduced by Lamb.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded by Jane. Discussion. All right, call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Resolutions on first reading were items 34 through 39. We had no ordinances on first reading. Anyone wishing to address the council on a matter not on this agenda and not planned to appear on a future agenda may do so at this time, since it is an open mic session.
I'm Jane Sabota. I invite you to a paradise on earth. We're a rosary. There are some corrections. Lung fungus may have been put in the air with pest control trucks in some communities. Persons went to the hospital, were given penicillin, and passed away in a couple days, like what happened with Legionnaire's disease, a simple lung fungus. In some communities with fake computers to test water supplies, persons got a tummy ache and went to the doctor and were given penicillin and passed away of fungus. Ask your doctor to quit giving out penicillin. If one person gets a tummy ache from the food, close the supermarket until they test all the food with a biologist who wears a rosary. Put a cross on the fridge and cabinets so no one awful taints food. Eat eggs and coconut and food from the Equatorial Grocery. Promise to grow a garden for food safety for next year. with cancer might have radon gas at the lowest level of the house. Suck the gas out with a 6-inch diameter wide hose. Then blow clay powder into the rooms with a hairdryer or a leaf blower. And then spread Epsom salts a couple weeks later over the floors. Radon testers don't work when the president is a bioterrorist. Don't receive vaccinations because some are tainted. Lincoln Public Schools don't allow T-shirts with Jesus' statements. School board are possibly Soviets against our freedoms. Don't send your child to a public school. Start a Christ Kindness School where kindness is taught every day. Kind humans are given more gifts. Why? They care for the weak. Here is the notorious law that lets rapists rape without going to jail. State law number 294 is called Rape a Civil Remedy. No woman can have a civil case because the rapist would come back and rape her before, during, or after the civil case. Gay Governor Ricketts signed it. Do your city police call rape a criminal offense? If they do not put rapists in jail, they're possibly Soviets if white. Our Americans always put rapists in jail. Now, rape is a homicide unless both can prove they do not have the AIDS disease. Can you leave this offensive Soviet Hollander state of Nebraska law in your city office for others to read? Law 294 also lets children, women, and men be abducted by foreigners. Wear a rosary to be kinder to yourself, kinder to others, and others are kinder to you.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please come forward.
Interesting. Well, many times I come before you, and John knows that, for a number of years. And sometimes I'm a little gruff, but sometimes it takes that to wake and shake people up. So, little statement that I just kind of put together. Why do certain city elements defraud its citizens? The answer is sadly simple. It has to continue to use fraud as a daily business principle because it has committed so much fraud in the past that it must continue to use fraud to cover up the past fraud. If you tell a little lie, now your lies have to get bigger and bigger to cover up previous lies until you lose the meaning of the truth. Certain city elements have committed so much fraud in the past that it can no longer operate without keeping secrets, breaking laws, and taking what is not theirs to take. Now, why would I make a statement like that? Well, I gave you some of the information there, John, just facts, didn't want anything, to show you that this goes on. And it goes on behind your backs on a daily basis. And every legal hearing that I've been taken to since that, John, was to cover up what they didn't get, a certificate of remediation, to move forward. So fraud had been committed all along the way. Documents to the feds had been fraudulently done, covered up. So you had a number of people and certain elements within the city that falsified all this, that put it together and committed fraud. Now, if we're talking about the truth, you have the truth. And that's one thing that to speak to. Those are the facts. You probably never saw those facts, but those facts were brought up and given numerous times, numerous hearings, and I just wanted you to have the facts so that you would know what the facts were. A lot of that stuff I'm sending to a watchdog group that wants it, that's looking all over the country at a lot of the abuses for eminent domain and other things. And then they're going to present that to the Justice Department to see about opening up investigations. Because, you know, this has to be taken care of. You know, people are losing their properties, their houses, their life savings, and even being denied the right to earn a living, to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, to buy their needed prescriptions. And when you start doing that, we start going against the Constitution. And the Constitution basically says, it originally said life, liberty, and property. But then that got changed along the way, kind of massaged with some money boys, and they put pursuit of happiness. A lot of people, you know, don't know that because our education system really doesn't educate. You know, we have that, and I'll bring you down a little thing I did about the education system and spoke before the legislature. But I mean, those are the things, if we're going to honor the Constitution, you took oaths to uphold that Constitution, and when you see abuses by the Constitution, you have a duty to speak up about that. And I just want to remind you that. I took an oath under the Constitution and to, you know, work with my group within the American Legion, you know, to work with the veterans and uphold those laws. So all of us have duties. So, and we need to take a look at those. So thank you for listening to me. I hope this didn't kind of rub you, but I wanted to rub just a little bit and let you understand. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. Couple of points of order. If you're going to have public hearings, I would like to request that you have enough agendas on hand. Last week, I came in 20 minutes late, and this gentleman at the back had to hand me an agenda because there were none left. I don't know if there were enough there today or not. When I came at 20 of, it looked like there were 5. The parking arm was down. Last week, at the hearing that you were having, there was a gentleman in a red SVU that could not get out of the parking lot. So I handed him a card to open the arm. He said he had testified here, and he was looking for a way to get out of the parking lot. If you're going to have public hearings, it is only respectful to the public to have the arms up, enough agendas, and, you know, give us a chance, okay?
Ms. Kinsey, on the card you gave him, was that one of our complimentary parking passes?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are none out in the front when I came at the 20 minutes of 3. So,
We'll check
you
it
know,
out.
I don't know.
The arm should be down, though, because people coming on official business can have complimentary parking. Maybe we need to advertise that more in some way for
Maybe
hearings.
we should state it in the beginning of the meeting, too.
Because we usually have them at our office, but thank you. We'll check into that.
Usually it is up when you have hearings, but
I think it's because it's
the
just been
last
broken.
couple of weeks it has not been. Okay. My understanding of the policy, and I don't know if this comes from the legislature or whether this is Lincoln policy, but they're not supposed to be any private conversations by the council members unless they go into an executive session. And that's been happening. So,
You can only call an executive session if it's for specific reasons. To protect the public interest.
okay, why do we
To deal
have?
with personnel matters and to protect the public interest and to discuss pending litigation. Those are the only reasons you can call an executive session.
Well, I was reading the policy, and it said that if there were going to be private discussions, that they should go into separate, into executive session.
That's not
On the
correct.
open meetings laws, though, we cannot have, in our case, a majority visiting. So in our case, we'd have to have 3 or fewer council members visiting. And so what we do is if we see 3 together and there's a fourth coming, he or she will go elsewhere
Yeah.
so that we're very,
Okay.
we try to do that. Now, we're open to suggestions, but
Okay.
we
I
try our
don't think
best.
it's polite to the public when you have private little whispering conversations.
I think Ms. Kinsey is referencing, there was a time when Trent needed to excuse himself and I took over the meeting. That's kind of, I don't know how to handle something like that differently.
Are you talking about up here at the dais?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or, like whispering back and forth between each other? I mean, sometimes we're just passing information, like if somebody's going to make a
question or something.
a request or a motion, or if there's a question that somebody needs to ask, or like before I was whispering because I was asking whether it was appropriate for us to take a 5-minute break.
Okay, well, then why can't you speak that to the public?
I
Okay.
wanted to check
If
with
you
the other
don't
members.
want to look at it, it's my suggestion, it's my belief that this is part of the legal ramifications. I'll check it out with a lawyer. The other thing is, why are some people sworn in to give testimony and have the right to rebuttal and others are not?
The applicant has the right to rebuttal. They are the only ones that have the right to rebuttal. Some people are sworn into testimony if they're outside of a city office. If you were a member of a city office, you're not sworn in. On SDLs, we don't swear people in because they've already taken an oath for their license. But otherwise, if they come forward for a manager's application or something like that, they take an oath.
Okay.
I think generally the swearing in occurs on the liquor licenses. Is that correct, Ms. Meyer?
Correct. Only on liquor licenses do we issue the oath.
Here we go.
Okay. So then what about the rebuttal, the right of rebuttal?
The right of rebuttal is stated in the beginning of the meeting, which is the applicant may then make one short rebuttal after everybody else speaks. That's stated at the beginning of the meeting. And that's our process, and it's been our process since as long as I've been here.
Okay.
And council members are able to ask staff questions.
Yes, I know they are. The public hears from city officials the same old mantra of attracting highly paid millennials by keeping a beautiful hay market, lush parks, and lots of sporting events. The fact is that people go where the jobs are. Now, they may consider these other things, but it's the job and the pay. I attended a meeting of a business organization, East Lincoln Business Association, and their complaint was they can't find people to fill their jobs. Yet we have people who are underemployed in Lincoln, Nebraska. So something is wrong when the residents are not attracted to the types of jobs that we have here. So something should be done about making an effort to raise salaries that maybe businesses are offering that are too low, or training people that can fill the jobs that we have here. This was a business statement. I don't know on the other side of the coin what the employee would have to say, but they don't feel they get enough.
Couple
So-
seconds to wrap up because you're at your into your 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm wrapped.
Right?
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I don't think anyone else is coming forward, so I'd move for adjournment.
Second.
Seconded by Jane. Call the roll.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0.
We're adjourned.